Hi, my name's Tim Leidy. I build lots of stuff. I mostly build Batman stuff. This is not Batman, so this is very special. This is a giant comic-sized poster that I built. This was for a contest on Lego Ideas. Did not win, but it's pretty cool. This is just a giant-sized, custom-made comic book cover, so it's not based on anything specifically, but I really wanted to sort of get the feeling of Spider-Man with this. So this is entitled Spider-Man What Now? It's, of course, Spider-Man has to go out and get some milk and eggs for Aunt May. You know, she forgot the bake sale was this weekend. He has to go out. Oh, but now there's the missing cat. He's got to save the cat. And oh, here comes the Rhino. And now Spider-Man, what now? So it's like he's got his spider sense going off. It's just, you know, it's a very chaotic build, but it's a very fun comic book styled thing you would see.
So with a build like this, where do you start building? Is it with the yellow background or the characters?
The first thing I built was the hand.
Okay.
Which, you know, I will tell anyone if you're going to build a character, you're supposed to start with the head because that sets the proportions. But I built this really nice giant hand, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess the West has to be so big. So this was a fun piece to do. I had less than a month to make it because it was a very impromptu contest. So it's some of it's a bit rough, but it was very fun to do. So of course I did the hand, and then I moved to the arm, and then the torso and sort of the back. This back yellow picture frame is attached to the Rhino. So it's also a very heavy piece because it overhangs a lot. But you know, there's a lot of stuff going on. So of course.
So is the whole thing one piece then when you move it?
Oh no, no. Lots of it comes off in chunks, like. You know, the hand. Maybe I can grab Spider-Man's head. Yeah, so it just comes off in big chunks, which was mostly in terms of setup. So when I was building this, I had no real forethought about how I'm going to transport it.
Never a good thing.
No, and I wish I did. For most everything, I wish I did. I'm like, okay, well, that would have been a mistake, because now I got to shove this in a car every weekend. Yeah, it's just mostly to set up difficult, because, of course, you have to put things in certain orders. Well, let me see. Womp. Yeah, just putting things in different orders. Yeah.
So yeah, you can see some of those parts that came off, and that gives you kind of a behind-the-scenes look. There's obviously lots of great parts techniques that you had to use to get all this to come together. So talk a little more about the Rhino character then. You've got some really chunky, like the arm section there, the chest section. There's a lot of pieces involved.
Yeah, so it's very much inspired by a Lego Big Figure, which I really like the styling of that. So that's where the arm kind of comes in. He has got a very dynamic face. This is probably the largest single face piece I've made, and so I really wanted to kind of go out. He's got like drool on the lips. He's got a really expressive eyebrows. Notable, his horns are made from Indominus Rex bodies, which was not kind to my wallet because I had to go buy a second one. But it's like, well, I need 2 horns. So, you know, just very fun. But it has a nice little shimmer to it. And, of course, the giant Spider-Man is really cool because it's sort of an oversized minifigure. Getting the round red head, of course, was a bit challenging. And then the nice, cute little cat, which is just a really fun thing to add.
So I've definitely talked to a lot of Lego builders over the years who say that face building is one of the hardest things, and you've done that with, you've got Rhino, Spider-Man, you've even got the cat, so a lot of different types of faces represented here. Was there a lot of experimentation with that, or how did those kind of come together for you?
No experimentation. Everything I do is basically just like one pass. I'm just like, yeah, at this point I'm like, oh, it's good enough. I'll go with that. But I've made figures for many, many years now. It's one of the things I'm known for, and so once you start building a lot of faces, it sort of gets easier and easier. And it's really just about getting the expression of the character, the personality. So that's why the Rhino's so expressive. You know, it's kind of starting from a point of knowing where you want to end up to have a lot of character and a lot of emotion from the build.
Yeah, and then even is it the groceries you've got over there? Even those have like expressions and character in the build.
Yes, it's a piece where you always want to have something looking around it, because normally you look at a comic book cover straight on. That's what it looks like. But because this is a 360-degree or a 3-dimensional piece, you want to be able to look at it from different angles. So there's lots of cool things. There's a missing cat poster on the milk carton, so Spider-Man finds the cat. There's some expressive eggs that are falling out and cracking. And, you know, it's all just sort of to add to the overall appearance of a comic book cover. One of the things I wanted to do was really get that sort of pixelated dot look from it, so that's where the background comes from. We've got all of these stickered Lego tiles. They're stickers from the Lego Ant-Man set. And I'm pretty sure I bought out all of the U.S. stock of the sticker sheets. I love stickers. And so I had to get as much as I could. There's some blank ones because I just could not get enough sticker sheets in a month, but that's, that's how it goes.
Right. No, it's a fantastic, very eye-catching piece here with the yellow and then all the characters popping out at it. So this style of building is very unique. Is this something you plan to kind of tackle more of in the future?
No, no, not for a while. Not any big characters like that, not for a while. It was fun, but I think I want to try some smaller characters for a bit, or at least some ones that are less heavy and have less weight distribution problems. But yeah, it's definitely an exciting thing to do. Yeah.
And I know you mentioned you're normally a Batman builder, but I wanted to talk about another one of your builds here as well that is also not Batman, but another great example. So what is this?
You've managed to find some of the few non-Batman builds. This is one of my only X-Men builds. Lego doesn't make too many X-Men minifigures, so it kind of limits what I want to do rather. But this is one of my dream character builds, which was Juggernaut. And he is just a very difficult character to make because he has a face under a helmet. So, I spent maybe like 60 or 70 hours building the head over a couple months, and then I built the body in like an hour. So that's how it goes with character building. But, it's just a really fun character, and there's a lot you can do with him, which is why I wanted to make this piece, because it's all about sort of forward momentum, about storytelling from one side to the other. So we start on this end where we have the Juggernaut. He's running to attack the X-Mansion, and he blasts through the wall, he stomps on the ground, he knocks over the fountain, rushing, knocks through the poor bench, which will never be sat on again, and then the impending doom of him crashing into the X-Mansion.
Yeah, you created such a nice sense of action here. You can almost when you look at this, you brace for impact with that wall.
Yes.
And what's on the other side of the wall then?
On the other side, we have a hallway with one of the more interesting features is we have Nightcrawler. He's jumping into action to save Jubilee. And so he was previously outside doing gardening. And that's why we have the bamfs of him bamfing from outside, inside, and then to Jubilee to save her. And then on the other end, we have the classroom where Professor X is now sensing something's going wrong at the last minute, with Jean Grey. And they're just sort of in their mutant classroom for genetics, just waiting to see what happens next.
And you even have little details in here, like using the stickers to create the cracking effect on the sidewalks.
Yep, so I love stickers. That's sort of just an added little detail. There's a lot of things you can do with stickers. There's a lot of portraits and pictures within the mansion, and they're just all about adding little details. For instance, Juggernaut on his back has a little stickers that show Wolverine's claws kind of cutting into his armor. And Wolverine's inclusion is pretty interesting because he was outside gardening, he was outside fixing the lawnmower, and he could not hear Juggernaut approaching because he had his headphones in. He was listening to Japanese pop music. And you could be like, okay, well, Tim, why didn't he feel the vibrations of the ground shaking when Juggernaut's coming? It's like, well, it's a build. It's for fun, so we don't have to think about it. And he couldn't smell him. He was cutting the grass. It's a whole thing. You just got to think about the story.
That's right. There's a lot of deep lore behind this build.
Yeah, it's all thought through, and it's all very, because comic book people, we love the accuracy and about that.
So we've talked about, you mentioned you do a lot of Batman builds, and we've seen an example of some of your other work here. Where do you kind of draw inspiration from, or how do you decide what you're going to tackle next?
Generally, I come up with what I'm going to do next as I'm building something, so it kind of makes me want to work a bit faster sometimes, but it's generally just about what kind of new characters, minifigures I can get a hold of, what figures, sort of what kind of thing I want to express with a build, and just kind of keeping it fresh, something new. Juggernaut's a difficult character to make, so you're not really likely to see him in Lego. So it's one of the things I've wanted to do for a really long time, and so, just seeing what's new, trying stuff.
Sure. Well, it turns out fantastic. Thank you so much for taking us through both these builds here.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.